SDP, the Steve Dangle Podcast, with your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Let's go!
Hello, everybody, and I just want to let you know, BP Stouffville, Wednesday, February 12th, 1060 Hoover Park Drive. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing a live show.
Hooray!
And a little sidecast from one Steve Dangle for the kickoff of the Four Nations Face-Off.
Hooray!
Brought to you by Molson, official beer of hockey, and partner of the Leafs and the PWHL. I know. It's not that I couldn't see it. It's just sometimes your brain goes burp, burp, burp. Anyway,
I totally understand.
every time you order a Molson Canadian, you get to play Call the Shot, where you make score predictions for your chance to win $40,000 worth of prizing. And we're talking VIP hockey trips, game tickets, gift cards, and more. BP Stouffville.
Well, you didn't even mention the best part.
What's the best part?
Every time you order a Molson Canadian, you get to drink it.
Oh, that's,
Hey.
you know what?
Hey, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Let's go.
That is a really, really good point. So it's by the way, it's Keith Acton, friend of the show. It's his Boston Pizza out in Stouffville. So we're hoping Keith will be there too. I'm pretty sure he will. We're going to have a good old time. So listen, just like last show, we're going to start the show with not the Leafs. And
That's all right.
we're going to start the show with the Vancouver Canucks, also known
Why?
as
Are they
also
in the
known
news?
as the 15 years ago West Coast Leafs, where they just can't seem to get it together.
No one likes each other. Everyone's on their way out of town.
Yep.
Everyone's got trade protection.
Yep.
Ugh.
It's rough. So let's start with the no good situation. This is how it was described in the Globe and Mail yesterday. Daryl Dick of the Canadian Press did this interview, but the Globe and Mail has it. And Jim Rutherford. Let me ask you guys this before we even get into the quotes.
Can I point out you're mean?
Why?
You didn't let me read any of these things.
No, I want you to hear these. But here's what I want to.
People reached out yesterday. I want to talk about this, and I'm like, Adam told me I'm not allowed.
You're not allowed. You got to hear it on the show live.
Okay.
I want to know, Jesse and Steve, when things are bad and a general manager or a president, or sometimes in Ottawa's case, an owner,
Oh, dear.
reaches out to the meeting and goes, I want to have a chat. How does it normally go?
It is almost always a terrible idea.
Right.
It almost always makes it worse.
Right. Now,
Yeah.
we love it because it gives us some insight on the team.
They kind of have a responsibility to say something, but it's very often the wrong thing.
So let's talk about what Jim Rutherford had to say. And I'll read directly from the article here. In the past, he has always felt that there could be a solution to any tricky situation. Quote, and he said, and I felt for a long time there was a solution here because everybody has worked on it, including the parties involved. But it only gets resolved for a short period of time, and then it festers again, so it certainly appears like there's not a good situation that would keep this group together.
You know what's exhausting?
Tell me.
What's going on? What's going on? Pedersen and Miller don't like each other. All right. Why?
Well,
Like, we're all
I can
looking at it-
answer that.
We're all looking at it like, oh, coworkers having a disagreement. Like, why? Why don't they like each other?
Elliot Friedman in October talked about how, and this is crazy that this is out there, that essentially in 32 Thoughts, he said there was a situation where, and this is an NHL thing that NHL player or NHL teams like to do, sort it out within the room. And the suggestion was that in order to make Elias Pettersson, like the best player he could possibly be,
Wow.
right? That the management asked players like JT Miller, like Quinn Hughes, to get on him and hold him accountable when they felt like he wasn't preparing up to the level of maybe them or the rest of the team.
Well, can I give you a statistical idea of how not up to his standard he has been?
Yeah.
Since Pettersson signed his contract, Quinn Hughes leads the Canucks in scoring, 78 points in 65 games. He's goofy.
He's crazy.
JT Miller is second, despite playing only 58 games. He has 55 points. Connor Garland is third, leading the pack with 22 goals and 52 points in 69 games. He also leads games played. Elias Pettersson's fourth, man. He has 45 points in 63 games, making 11.6. It is 11.6.
Mm-hmm.
You're making Panarin money. And you're not close. And that guy's catching crap.
Yeah.
Like, you're miles behind the other embattled $11.6 million forward. It's a problem.
Noah Strang, who's a reporter for Daily High Vancouver, basically said this, guys. He quoted this. This is an Elliot Friedman article. Quote, "What I also believe, they didn't want it to be up to Rutherford or Alvin or Tocchet to do it. They really believe in their leadership group," Friedman said. "I think they said, you guys are the ones that are going to have to do it." Miller's obviously taking that very literally, and I think Hughes is involved too. And we're talking about Pettersson's, is it pregame preparation? Is it his detail on the ice? Could be a bunch of different things. Quote, "I think that the Canucks see this as it might be better for Pettersson if it comes from his teammates as opposed to the coach or the GM. I think what the Canucks have said to their leadership group is Elias needs to get to another level. You all see it. We want you guys to get him there. And I think they all see it and they understand it and they're trying to push him there. I don't think Pettersson always likes it. I think they're hoping he will understand that it's to make them win." And so that was back in, I believe that was in October. It was a while ago. But what we do know is that Pettersson and Miller, as much as Miller's a part of the leadership group, and I believe Pettersson is too.
Of course.
I mean, they
even if he isn't, yes, he is.
They have a very fragile dynamic, those two. And some people just don't get along. It is what it is.
There's been a million stories I've heard of people around hockey or any industry who don't get along, who find ways to succeed because of their talent and because of their adult tendencies.
I think the question that Noah put forward is why have Miller give Pettersson tough love if it's already a delicate situation? Are you asking for trouble? Is this on the management group?
It's okay. So once again, I don't really feel like I have an idea of what's going on. Like even, okay. So
imagine this.
Miller needled Pettersson.
Yeah, but I think it's probably like,
because he was asked to.
That's what it sounds like the situation.
Like there's a little more context to why they don't like each other.
How did he needle him? We don't know.
But again, okay. So let's take all the puzzle pieces we have, right? Management is like, there's a problem here because there is a problem. Mm-hmm. So they identify the problem. Point for management. Management passes the buck. Mm-hmm. They're like, we believe in our leadership group. That appears to have been the wrong decision. It's an untenable situation. And now we're talking about trading everybody. Remember when it seemed like only one of those guys was going to go? Mm-hmm. And now Miller's like gone. He's been traded 3 times as a Canuck. It's just he actually hasn't been traded. You know what I mean? It just hasn't found its way across the finish line. Pettersson is now at the point where it's like, okay, sorry, who's trading for this person? Who's $11.6 million to give you 0.7 points per game? No thanks. It's been a while, right?
And it's out there publicly, whether it's true or not, that the Canucks coaching, management, and president believe that his preparation isn't good enough because they wanted his teammates to bring him to the next level. Whether or not, again, that is true, that's what they believe. But now that that's out there too, it's kind of a harder sell on Pettersson.
Coach sounds pretty pissed. Besser's a pending UFA. Quinn is like a Hall of Fame defenseman in the making who, if this team decides to blow it up, is just going to be
Rutherford said that
wasted.
If they had to rebuild, he's already told them, I'm not going to do that.
Okay, so he's doomed to be Ray Bourque.
No, as in he's not going to stay.
Oh, he's not going to stay.
Yeah, he said.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what it would be. So
sorry, I thought you meant they're not going to do a trade because people forget. Like, what do you mean doomed to be Ray Bourque? He won a Stanley Cup. Yeah. The reason it was such a big deal he won the Stanley Cup is the 2 decades of playing on the ass Bruins.
Yeah, the
which is weird to us because we don't know them like that. Yeah. But yeah, they were mediocre for a very, very long time.
Here's what Rutherford said. Here's what else he said, I guess. We're talking about two of our top players, certainly our two best forwards. It can be really tough on a franchise, not only present, but in the future. When you're planning on peaking this team into a contending team and you find out that's not what's going to happen, or at least that's not what's going to happen with the group we have now, then you have to put together a new plan. Now, when you and then he adds, when you don't have chemistry, it's hard to be a consistent team because there's too much going on in the room for everybody to concentrate on what they're supposed to do. And guys, if you were to look at this team on paper over the course of the offseason, I would say they got better.
I thought they'd win the Pacific. Like, even though I think I had the Oilers as my cup pick, but, regular season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, okay, let's say Demko comes back. I was sort of betting on that. Oops. But I looked at Silov's, Lankinen. I'm like, that's good enough. Their D's better. Their forwards are better. Okay, here we go.
Yep. And I'm gonna give you this quote, and then I want to ask you guys a question. The quote is from Rutherford: "If we were to completely start over, it means Quinn Hughes, goes, and we'd have to figure out a way that he's here forever."
He said that?
He said that. That's what he told the Globe. He's 20. Quinn Hughes is 25.
He openly talked about trading Quinn Hughes.
Well, no, he said that he doesn't want to because he doesn't want to rebuild. So, you're not trading Miller or Pettersson for picks and prospects.
So
you're
trying to say, I think that's him trying to say, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
That's not how it reads at all.
So,
jeez, Chim.
So, the question here becomes: do you, and Jesse, I'm going to ask you this: do you let this play out all the way through the end of the season? See how far you get. Try to make what you think could be a better trade at the draft.
They might still make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. I look at the situation, and we're looking at the future now with the Canucks and going forward, and looking to the offseason, the draft, and Adam and I just saw Paul Jones over the weekend. If you're not familiar with
Love
Toronto,
Paul Jones.
He's the best.
He's been a radio broadcaster for the Toronto Raptors for like 20 years of his career, still doing it, still one of the best that we got in play-by-play. And he used to be a principal in elementary school way back when, before he was the Raptors broadcaster. And he used to apply this to teams when young players are struggling. Sometimes when a kid comes to school and they're late every single day, you don't blame the 8-year-old who's showing up to school every day that's late. You blame the parents, because
Certainly.
the parents are the ones in charge of bringing the kids to school. It's not the kid's fault that the kid is showing up late. And you look at this situation that's happening in Vancouver, and I'm starting to sway to it's not the kid's problem anymore. This is the management's problem. It seems like here we got an issue with Tochek and Rutherford and Alvin, and really that's Jim Rutherford, because he's the one at the top. He named Alvin president, GM, to just get that title off of his plate so he can actually be the decision maker behind the scenes, and Alvin doesn't really do anything. He's just the puppet for Jim Rutherford.
And all these players that we're talking about are locked up. So,
Yes.
you believed in them. You put your stamp financially.
You believed in them. You locked them all up. And it's also your fault that they're all still in this situation. Rick Tocchet's the head coach. Your job is to manage the guys there. You're the teacher in the room. You're the parent for the kid. You're supposed to be taking care of these people and getting them playing right and making sure everything is good in the locker room, so that on the ice everything is good. If they were winning right now, if the Vancouver Canucks are first in the Western Conference, none of this matters.
Right.
Theirs.
Of course.
Winning solves everything. So if you're Rick Tocchet, you simply have to find a way to win games so that none of this matters. And nobody's getting along and you're losing, then solve the nobody's getting along thing so that losing's all right. And then if you're Jim Rutherford and Patrick Alvin, you can't let it get to this where you have to trade them. So I think at the end of this, if I'm the Canucks, if I own this team, I want to keep Millerson, as I like to call him. I want to keep Millerson. I want to keep Quinn Hughes, and I'm getting rid of Rick Tocchet, and I'm getting rid of Jim Rutherford.
Wow.
75. He's out there talking like a 75-year-old who doesn't care.
Let's do this. Let's play the game.
We don't need to play the game.
What year was he born? What was invented?
Things invented after Jim Rutherford was born is a fun game, but he's clearly just trying to win now, and he has no control over the organization from where he is to the bottom, because from the bottom is the players. The players aren't getting along to where he is. He doesn't know what he's doing with these players. He has no plan moving forward. I would move on from that management group and the head coach. So keep the players. They're the good ones.
So here's the problem there, Jesse, is you have a notoriously, how do I even describe it?
February 1949, by the way, is when he was born. There you go.
Hey, you have it. I believe he predates color television.
He has to.
Now,
yeah.
I think the issue here, guys, is about 10 days ago, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, January 20th. Patrick Alvin came out and talked. And people have sort of forgotten that already because it's, the news cycle turns so quickly. And it seems like they have another problem brewing. And Patrick Alvin let it slip, and it got, outside of the Vancouver market, not a lot of focus. But their Jack Adams award-winning coach could be on the way out. And here's what he said. He said, I'm proud of how Rick has handled the season here. Remember, 9 days ago. I do believe that he is a good coach, and I see him in Vancouver long-term. It's a two-way street there.
Oh, God.
Up to this point,
stop talking.
It hasn't been an urgency for us to do anything with a club option. Meaning, he's claiming neither side is that worried about doing an extension. And maybe they're not.
Well,
but here's the deal.
Like, what are you even committing to?
Rick, to that point...
What's the team? Who are you coaching?
To that point, Rick Tocchet had been behind the bench for 163 games. And he was 90-50 and 23, won the Jack Adams first place in the Pacific Division last year. This year, I don't think that's on the table. But
that award is...
I would imagine that the Rick Tocchet options are better than the Vancouver Canuck options. As in, he's the one holding the cards if he goes into free agency as a coach.
Yes.
Because what a team's going to say is, well, management had a plan for how they were going to deal with getting Pettersson back up to where they need him to be. And they followed through in that. It blew up in their face, but that's not really Rick's fault. Plus, he just won the Jack Adams and coached the Vancouver Canucks to their first second-round appearance in 4 or 5 years since the pandemic or whatever. That's a coach we like. There'll be a lot of teams lined up to get Rick Tocchet. It sounds like Rick Tocchet's not like falling over himself to stay. And
who are you coaching?
When you say it's a two-way street there, you've basically just told me he's not committed fully yet.
Yeah, this is why I keep climbing up to the top of the pyramid. You start at the bottom with the players, and then you go with the coach, and then you go with the GM, and then you go with the president. This seems like Alvin and Rutherford's problem here. It seems like they've mismanaged this entire organization, and things are crumbling now.
Can I give you an optimist point of view? Mm-hmm. Like, I know, like, we're hammering the Canucks, and things aren't great right now, and I understand. They got 4 out of the last 4 points. They won their last 2 games.
They won 2 games.
Yeah.
That's a fun way to put
that's
it's
optimist.
I believe it's their first 2-game winning streak in a couple of months.
Well, they're still below 500 over the last 10, but most of the teams around them are as well. They are 1 point behind the Calgary Flames for the second wild card. 1. Calgary's the younger team. I would argue thinner. Like, who knows? Who knows? You're right there. Okay, but there's lots of teams behind you. Are they going to catch you? The Blues are 4 points behind you, and you have 2 games in hand on them.
You should beat the Blues.
I like those odds if I'm the Canucks. Okay. Utah, they are 5 points behind you. The Ducks are 6 points behind you. The Kraken have played more games than you, 3 more games than you, and have 40-70 or 54 points. If I'm the Canucks, like, you got to look forward. You can make it. And if you do make it as second wild card, you're just going to get swept in the first round. No, you're going to be playing the Jets, who have really struggled in the playoffs in recent memory. They're a crazy good team. I have no reason to doubt them. They won their last 4 games. Connor Hellebuck, he's a great goalie, right, Jesse? High five.
Nah, mediocre.
He's a great goalie.
Yeah,
great goalie.
Mediocre.
You have a shot, man. Like,
No. I think you've completely misjudged how untalented this Canucks team is. Like
I don't think that's
all they do is give up leads. Like, they can't hold anything. They can't play defense. Like, the defense is terrible. They got Quinn Hughes and nothing.
I could see them being the Jets from a few years ago, like the last run of Pierre-Luc Dubois, where the team made the playoffs, and it's like, what even is the point of you making the playoffs if you're that ass. They didn't even put up a fight. I can't even remember who beat them. But they can make it. If you're Francesco Aquilini, you're like, sorry, I could get 2 to 3 home dates.
I think if they sneak into an 8 seed, like they lose in the first round. There's no way.
Probably.
There's no way they beat this Jets team.
Well, and I think if you look at the defense that they have, like, okay, you re-sign Myers, okay, I get it, but then you got younger, less good Myers and Vinny Desharnais. I didn't understand why they brought that in, and like it's like Derek Forbert, and you're bringing up the other Elias Pettersson to round out your defense core. Like it's thin back there, especially with Cronin out a good chunk of the year.
Yeah,
and he's an offensive defenseman like Quinn is. Not that Quinn doesn't play great defense, he does. But my point is, it's thin back there, and here's what Rutherford went on to say about making these trades. He said. Basically, the preface for this is both Miller and Pettersson are number one centers. In these times, you don't trade a number one center and get a number one center back. Quote, those deals aren't going to be there, Rutherford acknowledges. So yeah, if a center goes out of here, we've got to get some kind of center back.
Which one of them is playing like?
But it's not going to be the same as a center in, center out. It might not even be a number two center, but you'd have to do the best with it, or we have to figure that out, how to fill that spot back in. And then, of course, you have to get extra things that you can use either in the future to flip for NHL players now or for other positions or things like that.
I think they're really light in a lot of areas, and there's a lot of work to be done on the roster because they're not playing like how they played last season.
No.
If they're not playing like that, then you have to reevaluate your expectations of the team.
What team's looking around going, I'm going to trade my number one center?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how many dance partners, or even my number two? I'm going to trade my number two.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's why I brought up Middlestat with the Avalanche, because I'm like, yeah, that makes some sense. But, like, you're replacing either Elias Pettersson or JT Miller with Casey Middlestat.
So you're downgrading.
Yeah.
Yes. So you got to be getting crazy futures in return. Do the Avalanche have the facilities to give you crazy futures? No. Like, I don't. One day they could fill a whole book with what happened during this saga. Because remember at the beginning of the season, I said the Rangers are screwing up what should be a really good thing. Mm-hmm. The Rangers, from the depths of hell, are resurrecting their season in a way where they're at least watchable, might even play meaningful games into March and April.
And then they
might even make
to
the
lose
playoffs.
every single game in the last 2 minutes. It's brutal.
I know it's brutal.
Every game is the exact same. They go in the third period, it's tied like 3-3, and they lose in the last 2 minutes.
They seem oddly thin on defense, too, with the talent back there, though. You wouldn't expect that they would be, right?
I don't know. Maybe trading Jacob Trouba was not great.
Well, it certainly wasn't the problem. It certainly wasn't the problem.
Well, and
neither was Barclay Kucherov.
Here, I'll go with another one. A team that we wrote off. Remember, we were like, what's the cutoff in the East? And we're like the Islanders. Islanders aren't going to make it. They suck. 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 5 straight.
Yep.
So many teams have been able to come back from the depths of hell. And I keep waiting for it to happen to the Canucks. They have won 2 straight. But I keep waiting for it to happen to the Canucks. And it won't. It just isn't happening.
Yep.
They beat the Leafs 3-0, and I'm like, of course the Leafs were their get-right game, and they proceeded to die in every game after that for a while. Maybe these back-to-back wins are something they build on, but I keep waiting for this thing that's not going to happen. And even if it does, it sounds like they're going to blow the thing to smithereens anyway.
Yeah, I think this is a Jim Rutherford mismanagement of your entire organization. It's like the injuries really got to them this year. Sometimes injuries just curse you. Like missing Dakota Joshua for so long, and Sherwood's out.
Well, Demko.
And Demko's out.
Lankinen was so good.
And Lankinen was good, but like it's not your starting goaltender. You know, at the end of the day, he's still Lankinen, having Cronin out all season long, and there's too much piling up, and then everybody's fighting, and then your coach doesn't want to sign, and then your GM wants to openly talk about your star player not leaving. It's a complete mismanagement.
I agree, Jess. I think you're right. And it starts from their cool plan about, getting a fragile relationship and testing it to its absolute limits, right? These guys already didn't get along. If you got an issue with your $11.6 million player and his preparation, hire an outside coach.
Can I throw one out there?
Like, don't put it on the players to do that.
No, I agree. Well, you know what it reeks of? before I get to the other thing, you know what story I hate reading about because I'm like, really, you all think the exact same way? Is older coaches going, those tactics that used to work don't work with these new young players. It doesn't work on Gen Z. Okay,
Or millennials.
Tell you what, you make millions of dollars a year to coach people. Figure it out.
Change.
I don't like that is such a reasonable request of someone who makes millions of dollars to do what they do at the top of their profession.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard. They're on their phone. Grow a pair. What the fuck? Like I'm not saying that's Rick Tocchet, but it definitely reads that way. And it's just I find it to be extremely lazy. The other thing I wanted to say, I believe it was Elliot Freeman on Headlines.
Yep.
Talked about Pettersson and the Sabres.
Yes. Apparently there's interest there.
So I'm looking at the Sabres.
So it's gonna be Dylan Cousins and Bo Byram for Pettersson.
Well, this is again, you're not. What are you giving up? Tage? No. So it's got to be Cousins. There were already trade rumors there, right?
And they need defense.
Byram, I guess.
Listen,
God, that doesn't replace either of those guys.
Well, no, but I think Buffalo believes that they have more than what they need. Like Bo Byram seemed like a trade that they didn't need to make.
Buffalo has, I think it was according to Scott Wheeler from The Athletic, the best prospect pool in the league. So, I'm talking about guys who are on their team now. I mean, the pièce de resistance of that trade is probably in the AHL or junior or college or something.
Important to remember, too, Pettersson, with his contract, has zero trade protection. He can be traded anywhere.
Yeah, which is why they got to
take advantage of that.
Get out of Dodge.
With Cousins and Byram, if that were the deal, it would roughly work out because Byram makes close to 4. Cousins makes close to, he makes 7.1. So that roughly works out salary-wise. Vancouver would be able to do it. And that gives you your young center that's under contract if you're Vancouver. Does it make you better? I don't know.
It's important.
Does it make Buffalo better? I don't know.
Important to note, Byram is from Cranbrook, which is not a private school. It is a place in British Columbia.
There you go.
So feel good.
Reference for anybody under the age of 28. Or maybe even older than that.
Is 8 Mile old?
Oh,
8 Miles
yeah.
so
Damn,
old,
8
dude.
Miles old.
We're running up on 25-year anniversary.
No,
of
we're
8 Mile.
not running up
8
on
Mile.
25. Oh my God, am I Jim Rutherford?
We're getting close.
Things invented in 1988.
November 8, 2002.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was.
We're 2 years away from the 25-year anniversary of 8 Mile.
The year 8 Mile came out, the Leafs went to the Eastern Conference Final.
Yep.
Bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe 28 was an underestimate. Maybe
23.
31, maybe.
I'm so sad.
So it's 23 years. 23 years.
Yeah, so 2 years. No, I mean 28 for anybody who got the.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
I like how you guys are having this little argument while I'm having an existential crisis. That's unbelievable. Anyway, it's not a private school. It's a place in BC.
Yeah.
Damn.
So crazy, huh? Crazy. So
I wish you didn't tell me that.
Are you? What is this thing about you getting old? Talking about your birthday's coming up. Are you thinking about it a lot?
No, Adam keeps talking about our birthday, and I'm like, shut up.
Are you guys? Well, maybe we'll do that on VIP. We'll start with that.
No.
Are Adam and Steve feeling old?
no, I don't actually. I don't feel.
Steve's just said he's having an existential crisis.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't know.
I'm not old.
I don't feel.
I'm in the prime of my life.
So yeah, I guess that's as far as we can go with the Vancouver Canucks situation. But suffice it to say that it was a problem, and it is a problem, and they've made it a worse problem. And so the question is, when does the problem get resolved? And even when the problem is resolved, does the resolution of the problem create more problems? Because here's the deal: you trade JT Miller. You lose an absolute animal at both ends of the ice when he's engaged.
A gamer.
And key is when he's engaged, because we've seen what he's like when he's not.
Yeah.
And you don't know what you get back. If you lose Pettersson, you're losing a very young contract, young forward who has the potential to score 100 points. He's already done it.
He could go off somewhere else.
Like, it's not.
He ain't doing it.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens. I just, man, my thing is, I can't imagine them going past the trade deadline with this, and yet it's the NHL, and usually the most boring outcome is the right one, and so they probably will.
Here's what I want for the Canucks. Adam, you're a very empathetic guy.
Try to be.
When someone brings you a problem, do you try to help them solve it?
I do. Usually, though, what I've learned is sometimes they don't want you to help.
Right.
They just want to listen.
Okay, they ask for your help to solve a problem.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
What if that friend brings you the same problem every day? And asks for your advice, and you give it to them every day.
And it's the same problem?
And they don't do anything about it.
After a while, you disengage. You say to them, like, I can't even hear this anymore because you're not going to do what I'm telling you to do.
You know, last year when the Flames were interesting until I just banned them from the show because I didn't give a shit. Like, oh, they're going to trade this guy, that guy, that guy. All right, do it then. God, it's been months of this. Shut up. And now this year it's the Canucks. And like, Pettersson and Miller. And I can't do this every show. Fucking do it or don't.
Well, I thought this was important.
Oh, no. This conversation was important. But like, we're not coming back Friday and being like, oh, they still might. Like, fuck, I don't care.
Right.
Do it or don't.
Right.
We might come back Friday.
We might come back Friday after they actually do it. When they do it at like 5 o'clock tonight when the show goes up.
Of course, that'll happen.
Who do the Canucks play next?
Oh, that's a good question.
Leafs, shut up. No, I don't know.
Preds tonight, 9:00.
That's a good game of
Hey, former
underwhelming teams this season.
first round matchup from last year.
Hey,
Isn't that was
That's like alien.
14 years ago?
I know.
Hey,
Wow.
who disappointed this season bowl going on Wednesday night on Sportsnet? Fun shit. It was Adam was right about the back-to-back thing. You look at teams going into the playoffs and you're like, okay, who's able to win 16 games here and win the Stanley Cup?
Yes.
And it's usually teams that during the regular season had some sort of run. You look at Edmonton last year and that stretch they had from December to January where they literally didn't lose those couple weeks there. And with Vancouver, this is their first time winning back-to-back games since the end of November. I think it was the last week of November they won 2 games in a row, and they didn't win 2 games in a row until the 25th and 27th of January.
Let me give you one. How many wins in their last 10 games for the Nashville Predators?
I don't know. I'm not keeping up with the Preds.
7.
Oh,
What?
no.
What?
What are you trying to do?
What? They're good right now.
Are they?
At the moment.
Nah,
It hasn't helped,
No.
but they're right there.
no.
I know. I keep trying to. There's I keep waiting for them to get resurrected, and it's not.
No,
happening.
do it with the Sharks now.
No, I
No?
won't. No,
'Cause
they're.
you've been going through every team and be like, you know what? They got a shot.
All right, let me look.
Yeah, no, you gotta complete the.
They won their last game.
Oh,
2 out of their last 2 points.
they got a shot.
Stop.
They got a shot at this.
They got a shot.
Oh my god.
They got bite. Sharks truther. Steve Dangle.
Can you do the Blackhawks beat the Avs last night? Connor Bedard, fucking snipe show. Weird
that
angle
was
goal,
crazy.
unbelievable.
That was
stuff.
a great goal.
3, 4, and 3 in their last 10. They have points in 6 of their last 10.
I don't know.
Pretty good, man.
Guys, that's can we move on to the next thing?
No.
Now, there is more Canadian hockey drama, but I'm going to save it because what I want to talk about is the downfall of the Boston Bruins. Anytime we get the chance to just smack the Bruins around a little bit, we're taking it, okay? And we deserve it. If you're a Bruins fan and you're watching this, you know we deserve it. It's been a long couple of decades of the Bruins kicking our ass. So the Bruins currently do have a playoff spot. Their goal differential is -25, which is the highest among teams currently in the playoffs.
Isn't that up from the last we checked?
It is. To give you an example, the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have played 3 less games but are 1 point behind them, so their points percentage is much better, have a +32 goal differential. So
Can I
basically,
say how much I hate this division?
what do you
Like,
mean?
oh man, this is the West year. The East sucks. The wild card teams in the East are the Bruins and Lightning.
Yeah,
Go away.
I know.
Go away.
So the Bruins
Ugh.
last night play the Buffalo Sabres. and I haven't seen this in a long, long time, but JJ Peterka and Tage Thompson both get hat tricks.
That's awesome. In the same game.
And isn't it great that it happened against the Bruins?
It's so...
Like, tell me, like, listen, we don't... Sabres, when they come to Toronto, we go to there. There's a rivalry there. But man, it's so cool. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
As a Leafs fan whose core memories were built in the late 90s, early 2000s, it's not like I like the Buffalo Sabres either. However, they've been kicked for a very long time. There's a little part of you that's like, come on, do it. Just not against my team. And the Bruins walk into Buffalo and get their bottoms patted. Firmly. Oh, it's just
7-2.
I'm enjoying it. I'll enjoy it more when they're actually out of a playoff spot.
Well, they're not.
They were briefly.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah.
And it's annoying.
It's likely that they're going to make it. Because the bottom of the East is hilarious because it's like, it's like, oh man, Columbus is on a streak. And then Detroit's been so much better since their head coach. And Montreal's been so much better since Laine's been in the lineup. And the Rangers are back. And it's like
Columbus.
I did say Columbus.
Oh, you did say Columbus?
Columbus.
You said a lot of times.
I mean, do we have faith that any of those teams pass?
Why don't you do all the teams and how good you do it?
Why don't we? What if, do you believe, guys, that the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to finish ahead of the Bruins or the Lightning? Do you believe the Red Wings are? Do you believe the Canadians are? Do you believe the Rangers are? I could see the Rangers. 6-2-2.
They're the
Last
monkey
10.
wrench in all this. Okay, every team that's doing it, I'm like, here's how they're doing it, and it makes sense. Except for the Blue Jackets, where I'm like, how the hell are you still winning
Vibes.
games?
They're just vibes.
Vibes, but like injuries. Oh, they must be getting elite goaltending. No, like I want
Are they scoring
them,
a bunch of goals? No, their goal differential is +1.
like I want them.
Wild.
I want them to do it.
Uh-huh.
It's unexplainable, which is way more fun than, they're dominant. Boring.
Right.
No, I want you to win stupidly.
Right.
I think that's hilarious. So I would like it to be them. But you know what? In order for you to have that great story, someone's going to miss the playoffs. And eeny, meeny, miny, Boston. That'd be awesome.
What about Tampa?
Oh, frig them too. That'd be great.
I'm sure. How were your DMs after the Kucherov discussion last show?
I don't have them open like you psycho. I saw...
Did a bunch of Lightning fans go, yes, I agree with Steve?
I just saw my notifications on Instagram. It's like, you have 75 comments. And I went, good. And I read none of
the comments. That's good.
Yes.
A new you, a new do with the new year, as in doer, as in new jeans
Put
or
it on
new
your
clothes. You can put it on your butt. You can put it on your chest. You can do whatever you need. Doer is great clothing, and this is the thing. In a world of fast fashion, they use recycled materials, plant-based fibers. For natural breathability, softness, and moisture absorption, which is important for sweaty guys like me. But also, when you buy with Doer, your clothes last. It's kind of an important thing. You want it to continue. Yes. It'll make it through the wash many, many, many times, and you'll look hot doing it.
Yeah. Are you one of those celebrities that wears something once and then throws it in the garbage? No, of course you're not. Doer. Put that on your body.
There are new styles added every season, and you can check out Doer in person. There are flagship stores in Canada and the United States, or shop online at Shop Doer.
I've been to the one on Ossington. It's very nice.
There you go. And there's one in Vancouver too, and LA, and a few others. So go to shopdoer.com/SDP. And right now, our listeners get 20% off your first purchase with this exclusive URL, shopdoer, DUER.com/SDP. That's shopdoer, DUER.com/SDP. It's such a great deal. Don't wait. 20% off. Go to shopdoer.com/SDP. One team I want to talk about, guys, unless Jesse, do you have a pick? If the playoffs were to start today, Jesse, based on skill and based on teams you believe in, of the Bruins, Lightning, Blue Jackets, Red Wings, Canadians, and Rangers, and maybe you can include the Senators in there because they have the same amount of points.
Out of the Eastern Conference, Jesse.
Because all of those teams are within 4 points.
Please narrow down my choice.
All those teams are within 4 points?
All of those teams are with 4 points. Ottawa, Boston, Tampa, Blue Jackets, Wings, Canadians, Rangers, and Flyers are within 4 points of each other.
The Flyers?
The Flyer.
The Flyer.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not including the Flyers.
You're not going to include if you're going to pick two to be the wild card team.
No, I have to pick more than that because you're including the Sens.
That's okay.
Right?
Pick
So
one to be
there's
the third team in the Atlantic.
3 playoff spots is what you're giving me.
I'm giving you 3.
3 playoff spots. I think it rounds up how it is right now. I think the Sens make it, the Bruins make it, and the Lightning make it. The Bruins, with their, I think a lot of their problems could be solved if they just figured out their special teams. They're 30th in the league in power play, and we scream a lot about the Leafs power play, which is perfectly fine, and we don't scream enough about the Bruins power play, which is dog shit. And they
scream with joy.
25th in the league in penalty kill. They're bad in both areas. Figure out your special teams. Maybe maybe they can take a special teams coach from Toronto. That'd be great. Take him off our hands.
Hey,
Jesse.
Yeah.
I seem to remember around this time last year, you said that exact same thing about another black and gold team. If they could just figure out their special teams, they'd probably be in the playoffs.
Black and gold team.
Jesse, are you serious?
Which team?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, did I?
You said because that was their problem last year.
Remember they were poop?
Oh yeah, Pittsburgh went a month without scoring a power play goal last year.
They were super duper bad,
and they didn't.
And they didn't.
Funny
and they
enough.
have Crosby.
Yeah,
Right?
And they couldn't figure it out. So Boston, I think they find a way to keep doing what they're doing, which is middling, and then lose early in the playoffs. Tampa, I like Tampa this season. Tampa's been pretty good. And then the Sens, we don't talk enough about how good the Sens are.
They are good.
Third.
They play great defense. They get great goaltending because of their great defense. And if they just get timely scoring, they win games. And I think they got enough here to take a playoff push.
5 games back of Florida.
Yeah, if they
Or 5 games, sorry, points.
if the playoffs started today, Leafs would be playing Tampa based on points percentage.
Fuck off.
But Ottawa
Fuck off. You
and
win
Florida,
the division to
hold
play
on.
Tampa?
Ottawa and Florida would be playing, which means the Kachuk brothers would be going head to head. And I think the world deserves that.
That'd be good matchup.
I think we need that. The league needs that.
Brother fight opening face.
Oh, they gotta fight.
Opening face.
They gotta go, right?
Yes.
And like,
oh my God.
Like you guys saw the Amazon NHL documentary where they're having like steaks before one of Matthew's playoff games, and I'm like, I don't think they're having steaks before a playoff game in that series.
Nope.
One other
Perhaps
thing
not.
that I think is definitely possible is the Rangers leapfrog the Bruins. I can see the Rangers winning.
Jesse, I agree with you. I think they can.
I can see the Rangers winning the games in hand that they have on the Bruins and tying them in the standings once those 2 games are played, and then leapfrogging them and sneaking in as the second wild card, and Tampa moves up a little.
That means the Rangers also having to leapfrog the Habs, Red Wings, Blue Jackets, and Lightning.
Yeah.
They
Blue
can do that.
Jackets, unfortunately, feel a little 2024 Philadelphia Flyers-ish, where they're really good right now, but I can see them tailing off come
Because they're going to be
March
teams that
and
peak
April.
later, you're right?
Yeah.
Right.
And Detroit, I don't know if they have enough to stay in the race, just like last year where things tail off. They had the awful Larkin injury last year really cost them, but I still don't know if they have enough to maintain it. But the Rangers, though, they could sneak back in and leapfrog the Bruins.
Man.
But the Bruins are the ones who are really teetering here.
Here's
unless
my
they get
worst
something going.
freaking nightmare. What do the Leafs win the division, and then what do they struggle with in the playoffs the most?
Winning.
No. Why do
Winning
they
a
struggle
series.
with winning?
Scoring.
Exactly.
Not getting
and guess
dunked
what?
into a toilet.
Oh, hey, here you go. Your first round matchup is Igor Shesterkin.
Yeah, that can be tough.
Awesome.
That would just suck.
Who do you want to play?
Well, I don't think you. I mean, listen. As Leaf fans, we don't want to play anybody. Just give us the cup.
You shouldn't be rooting for Tampa to miss the playoffs. That's the only team you appear to have their number for some bizarre reason.
Yeah.
By the way, list of teams not in the playoffs in the Eastern Conference below 500 in their last 10 games. The Pittsburgh Penguins. That's it. It's so competitive
It is.
down there, man.
It's good.
So competitive.
It's good. I want to
Go
move
Sens.
on. Yeah, I want to move on to the Senators.
Shut up.
Because the Senators made a bit of a boo-boo with their fans. They announced 2 days ago, that they were going to play games in Quebec City. Now, Quebec City famously has built and retrofitted or whatever. They have a new arena there. It looks great. 15,000 people. And they have been, it's so funny, like the premier every once in a while will be like, I got on the phone with Gary Bettman and it was productive, but nothing happens. And, Jeremy Jacobs said it a few years ago in an interview, and I think it stands.
I love the taste of human blood.
No, he didn't say that.
Oh, he said something else. Sorry.
What he What he said was
Oh.
he doesn't think the corporate sponsorship dollars are there in Quebec in order to support an NHL team. And we're talking about, if we're going to add markets, you probably want to add a Houston and Atlanta, maybe even a Kansas. You want the American markets because they're bigger, they have more corporate sponsorships, blah, 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 blah. But in the past, and there's a little bit of a sting here. In the past, Eugene Melnyk has threatened to move this team, threatened to move this team, and one of the places was Quebec.
Yep.
Quebec City. And they posted a picture a couple days ago of a Spartacat in a half Sens, half Nordiques jersey, and fans flipped out. And I'll tell you,
As they should.
No,
hold on. I'll tell you why.
Okay,
And then give me here's the thing. The reason why is the LeBreton Flats project is going extremely slowly, and everybody thinks, are the Senators using Quebec City as leverage to get Ottawa Municipal Council to pay more or whatever it is that they want? Go ahead.
Well, what I was going to say is this is actually a great gimmick if you're trying to get like old Nordiques fans on your side. However, what you're doing is alienating your absolutely justifiably rightfully skittish fan base.
Yeah, what?
So you were thinking about the new fans you could potentially get on board with this neat little thing, and you forgot about Sens fans, which is what the last guy did.
Which is your organization. Like, your organization right now is about your fans that you currently have, not the fans maybe in Quebec who are probably cheering for the Montreal Canadiens.
Well, they're trying to appeal to the never Habs fans because I guess there are a contingent of Quebec fans that will never cheer for the Montreal Canadiens.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're. I can't imagine
for them.
Can't imagine that's a huge market.
You're doing great, baby.
And what the claim was is that they should be going after people in like a Gatineau, Drummondville, that sort of area, not all the way into Quebec City. That's
Gatineau is literally next door.
right.
Sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure those people are already Sens fans.
So that's maybe they're making the argument that, well, we already have those people because one of the issues with the Senators is that they don't think that when the team was founded in the early 90s that team did enough to attract Quebecers. Mm-hmm. And there's significant populations in Quebec. And
Pierre LeBrun said that at like a Puck Talks event, God knows how many years ago, and we're still here.
so this is why they're doing it. But to me, I mean, if I'm in Quebec City and I'm a die-in-the-wool Nords fan, I'm at least 50.
I was about to say, like, how many young Nordiques fans are kicking around?
This is my question. Like, okay, so you're a Nordiques fan, and you saw the team play.
Yeah.
The Nordiques haven't been there since 94, 95. They leave the next year, they win the cup as the Colorado Avalanche.
Connor
which is just
Bedard
painful.
was not born into a world that had ever seen the Quebec Nordiques.
So, I don't know what the Quebec City to Ottawa drive is, but I don't think it's short. And I'm trying to figure out what... Okay, you're going for that audience. You maybe want to get the TV audiences and the ratings up, and maybe there's more money to be made in French and English television together, whatever. I get all that. But, like, it just feels like the type of audience you'd be going after is the over 50 crowd. No disrespect to the over 50 crowd, but that, their spend before retirement is not as large as a younger audience whose spend before retirement is, 40 years. And 40 years of working. And that's what they probably should be targeting. They should be doubling down. They should be trying to stamp the Leaf fans out of that market. They should be trying to stamp the Habs fans out of that market, make it an easy team to cheer for. And right now, it is.
I still think you're almost looking at it the right way.
Okay.
Like, you're looking at it like, here's what they should do to get all the Quebec fans on board. Nope. You're the Ottawa Senators. You're still in the middle of getting Sens fans on board. You're in the middle of getting people who already like you
To love
like
you.
more, to love you, because they were neglected for so long. And you're in the middle of this great season that is exactly what it should be. You're this young team that's should have been knocking on the door, and you'd sort of been going backwards or stagnating, and God, when are we gonna rah? And then there they go, skyrocketing up the standings, and there's injuries like there is every year. Oh no, but we're fighting through it, and we're still winning, and we're beating the Leafs. F you. And they're having a great time, and they wreck it. with this. Now they immediately go on the apology tour, which
Cyril Leader. I've got Cyril Leader is he's the leader. Haha.
Hey. What? I mean, your number one hope is people forget about this by the weekend.
Yeah, they probably will.
But keep winning.
Here's what he said. Sens fans, for clarity, 1, the team is not moving, period, other than hopefully downtown. Number 2, putting our beloved Sparty in a Sens,
like that you put hopefully in there.
In a Sens Nords jersey was wrong. Today was a good reminder that our logo is sacred. As CEO, I own this one. And I think I like that he apologized. I like that he owned it. How do you not know that cutting a Senators logo in half is going to piss people off? If you cut a Leafs logo in half, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, what? This is so silly. Like, who thought this was a good idea?
I
How
think
did this get to Fanatics or whoever that made it for them? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, who ordered the quadruple XL Nords Sens jersey? You know what I was thinking would be cool, but it wouldn't work because he's got a giant mascot head, is he should come out for the next Sens home game and just take off Sens jersey after Sens jersey after Sens jersey and just give them out for free in the stands. He should just walk up and down a row and hand out everyone. Here's like $2,000 worth of free Sens jerseys. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. Next Sens home game, these guys better get out the red carpet for their fans because that sucks. They deserve better.
And it's a bump on the road. And sometimes if you're not connected to the fan base, you might not see that coming. But I think that shows you that you have work to do to get connected with the fan base. Mm-hmm. Like as an executive, you got to know what your fans are looking for. You got to give them what they're looking for.
They were thinking too much about the fans in Quebec and not enough about the people who are already in their fan base.
Right. Yeah. And we've seen that place sell out. We've seen that place do well. Make the team lovable. Team's lovable. Great.
It was rocking for the first time in years, dude. Like even the Sabres Bruins game where the Sabres just run them out of the building. I was like, God, fans are like cheering. That's what the Sabres goal horn sounds like. I kind of forgot about that. Like all these teams are finally coming out of the fog a little bit, and the Sens chief among them. And hopefully this is just a little blip and they learned their lesson.
I think
fans are in charge.
Michael Andlauer needs to realize that the Ottawa Senators are about Ottawa. He spent many times co-owning, or at least owning a piece of the Montreal Canadiens since 2009, and he also owned their affiliate, the Bulldogs, for many, many years.
Yep.
Maybe his mind was a little bit too much on Quebec in this moment, and he forgot that his mind must be on Ottawa.
Bingo. Now, I got a bit of a weird one, and I don't think a lot has been kind of made of this. But I occasionally come across a quote and you go, huh. And this one has to do with the Anaheim Ducks. And I know you haven't read it because they've kind of slipped under the radar this year.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
They've had really positive elements, and they've had ones where you go, well, Trevor Zegras is not playing like the Trevor Zegras we thought.
Crazy goaltending.
Crazy goaltending.
From both guys.
Crazy goaltending. Zegras got robbed last night too. Like sometimes a goalie robs you, and you're like, damn it.
Like, what do I even do? Yeah.
But I have heard, and I've heard other podcasts talk about it, questions around Greg Cronin.
Yep.
The coach.
Yep.
He was a coach with the Leafs back in the, what do they call it? The peak bleak years. Like really.
Was he Carlisle? I think he was Carlisle.
Yeah. Or Carlisle or Ron Wilson, I think. He was like one of his assistants. Yeah, it could have been. And let me ask you this, guys. What do you know about Mason McTavish?
He's a Canadian World Junior hero. Mm-hmm. He's a very good up-and-coming player. Like there are certain young players on the Ducks that you maybe have questions about. Mason McTavish shouldn't be one of those players. He's really good.
Right. And he's a 3rd overall pick from 2021.
Was he 3rd?
Yeah.
Damn, they've picked really high, really often.
He hasn't broken out in like a crazy way. He's got 26 points in 44 games, but like Lafreniere, like Slavkovsky, it takes some time sometimes with these guys, right? That's nothing wrong with that.
I'd love to know where that puts him on the Ducks.
Oh, probably pretty high.
They're not winning games by
scoring goals,
shooting the lights out.
No.
They're making 50 saves.
Here's what Greg Cronin said about Mason McTavish. Mac is a 3rd line guy that has offensive ability.
Oh, no.
Who do you put with him that's going to bring both offensive ability and also stabilize the line as a reliable checking line?
You picked a third line guy, third overall?
Well, so here's where a quote like that leaves you. A quote like that leaves you either it's a huge indictment on the coach or the scouting staff, as in they made the wrong pick 3 years ago, if that's what the coach believes, or the coach doesn't get what this player can be. It could be a challenge to Mason hearing that.
Sure.
But third line center with offensive ability on the Ducks is not a compliment. And no disrespect to the Ducks, but I think Mason McTavish being a third overall pick would be like, yeah, that's not what I wanted.
He's fourth on the Ducks in scoring and actually should be higher because he's missed some games. He could be as high as second.
Now, this had to do with trying new things and moving people around and, how he played with Carlson and Killorn. And it's actually, I should give him a shout, Zach Kavanaugh, who is a Sporting Trib reporter, is the guy that has it. But I've heard things about Cronin that he's a bit old school. Bit of a caveman is how it was quoted to me.
Okay. And
you look at the performance of, I don't think any of those young guys have blown us away except for Lucas Dostal, who's been amazing.
Unreal. Well, Leo Carlson, I was just looking at all the Ducks. He's got 16 points in 44 games. Meh.
And maybe that's on the players. You got to put some of that on the players. But, Troy Terry's doing his job, and Troy Terry's the only one on the team with over 30 points. We're at game 46. Not a single player on this team has over 40. Not a single player after Troy Terry has 30.
There are some...
you're
Jackson
hoping
Lacombe's a good story.
You want Carlson, Gauthier, McTavish, Lacombe, Vetrano just re-signed there. You want these guys to kind of progress. But I'm curious, guys, when you hear a statement like that, and obviously he's talking about trying to stabilize a checking line in this particular instance, do you feel like, and Zegras' fall off needs to be studied a little bit here too.
Oh, God.
How many times has he been almost traded? Is this the right coach for this group of players? Some guys are just not cut out for young, new NHL players. It is I
think because you're talking about a lot of stuff you've heard and all that. Why don't we talk about the things that people have said? because people have publicly called out Cronin. I don't know if you guys remember early or mid-November when Spit and Chicklets.
I was going to mention
Cronin.
that.
I brought up the quotes again, so we can talk about that because I think it's relevant. It was Ryan Whitney who said, "I'm hearing early rumblings. Cronin is absolutely despised by Ducks players." Whitney said, "I think at times he's making life living hell for these guys. Some of the young guys, just old school way, a coach who is not your friend, just giving it to you every single day. I think Cronin has been around the game long enough where you talk about teaching an old dog new tricks is hard." And then Bizanet followed up by saying, "My understanding is a lot of them in their postseason meetings last year were like, this guy's not the answer. We need somebody different in this seat to teach us the pro game and not just screaming at us, but actually breaking down video to the point where I'm hearing it's one of the most dysfunctional locker rooms." So that was in November about Cronin. And then Silverberg was talking about in a paper. Let me just make sure I know what paper. In Expressen, that foreign paper.
Oh, that's a Swedish paper.
Yeah, we usually get quotes from players who go over there and talk in their own language. This was about Cronin and his time with the Ducks. "Randy Carlyle is notorious for yelling and scolding his players, but the worst scolding Silverberg and Ducks got was from Greg Cronin." It's a translation. I apologize for some poor English here. "We were down 0-5 away against Edmonton. Then he called timeout and forced us out onto the ice. Then all of us players had to stand on the ice and look at him in the bench. 'Look me in the eyes,' he shouted. I thought, what the hell are you doing? Isn't it enough that we're being run over in the game? Do we have to be humiliated too? Then he behaved like a pig." So,
Holy shit.
that's
God, every reporter at the end of the year, like in North America, it can be like, can you just pretend I'm like Swedish? Yeah. Or Finnish or something like, just give me the good stuff.
That's Jakob Silfverberg, who retired at the end of last season, going to the Swedish newspaper. Last week, that article came out. This week, actually, January 24th. So those are the quotes from him about Cronin.
August 3rd, 2022. Anaheim Ducks GM resigns following improper workplace allegations. That would be Doug Wilson. Or sorry, Bob Murray. Not Doug Wilson. Excuse me to Doug Wilson. Bob Murray. Doug Wilson was San Jose. But he didn't resign for that. Bob Murray was a general manager there for a while. And there was a workplace investigation done. Mm-hmm. And
it's easily forgotten because it was kind of in the middle of
everything else.
Everyone. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, the owners of this team, you know, Brian Burke speaks about them in glowing terms. And just like Columbus's ownership group, they're known to be hands off. I hire you to be the hockey person. You go be the hockey person. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to come in and be the hockey person. I own the team.
Right.
Which is, in theory, a great thing.
Yes.
But I'm not suggesting that there are, these are any way connected. But is it unfair to say that it's worth looking at, that perhaps the management structure there isn't great, and even with his resignation, continued to not be great?
Well,
if Silverberg's saying he acted like a pig, I mean, I don't know how much more damning that gets.
Yeah.
That's rough. And
he acted like a pig.
He acted like a pig.
I wonder what I assume that's the literal translation. Mm-hmm. Like, is he trying to say he's pig-headed? Which is obviously different than calling someone a pig.
Is pig-headed better?
Yeah. Yeah. I call you pig-headed or a pig. Which would you prefer?
Yeah. That's why I prefaced it with it's a translation. I think the
pig-headed ain't great.
It's not great.
Like on a curve here, yeah, okay, pig and pig-headed are bad, but both are bad.
Yeah. But I think the important part is the details of what happened on the ice there, where they're getting run out of the building and he calls them over and is yelling at them. That's not the way a head coach should be acting in that moment. I don't think any player right now that we've heard talk about playing under Greg Cronin has ever been happy with Greg Cronin.
No, and that goes back decades, by the way.
I don't want to get caught up in the old school, you know, kids these days are soft. Like I know what this conversation is going to turn into. Let's go with, does Guy win? My favorite game to play with any guy in this conversation. The answer, by the way, is no, like across the board, no. So he was an assistant coach with the Islanders, 99 to 03. We're going to leave that out of it. That was a very long time ago.
But those are the Milbury years, are they not?
Pretty sure. I think, yeah, that makes sense. Then he was a head coach with Bridgeport, a couple years. Who cares? He went to Northeastern University, head coach again. That's university until finally getting a gig with the 11-12 Toronto Maple Leafs as an assistant. The Leafs made the playoffs once during his 3-year tenure with the Leafs. It was the 4-1, or not 4-1. Yeah, 4-1 collapse. Sorry, they've had too many. Fuck. Then he went to the Islanders for 4 years. Oh, the ones who went to the conference final? No.
The ones before that.
No, they went to the conference final after he left. Then he was the head coach for the Colorado Eagles. Oh, well, they must have done awesome. Lost in round 1. Season ended early due to COVID, although the team was 34-18. That's pretty good. Next year, lost in round 2. Next year, lost in round 2. Next year, lost in round 1. Gets hired as head coach of the Ducks after that illustrious stay in Colorado. And they stunk last year. And now this year, they're like a bit better, but still below 500 and out of the playoffs because they're just goalieing the shit out of everybody. So for me, it's less about like kids these days can't handle a good screaming at. Kids these days can't handle a good public humiliation. It's like, okay, who do you know that you got this job? You're one of the 32 best in the world.
Well, I think
you're one of the 32 best coaches in the world.
You go read Ducks replies to this, like Ducks fans reply. They're all saying the same thing, which this guy's got to go. How is this guy a coach in the NHL?
32 jobs. 32. You're one of the best. You're one of those 32.
I can imagine if Silverberg says you acted, if Silverberg's saying what he said, I'm going to say no. And let me ask you this.
Come on, guys.
In any era ever,
Come on, guys.
how does a public humiliation, as Silverberg described it, get the best out of anyone? I think the reason that people used to do that is because they didn't know any better. It's not because they're soft. It's because, hey, you could do not the public humiliation, not destroy the player's trust in you, and get more out of them. Get to your goal faster.
Yeah, we're not losing 5-0 on the road because we're not trying. We just suck, Greg. We just stink, man. And it's Jakob Silverberg too. Like I
Respected guy.
Good player, very underrated, and played for some very good teams for a very long time. So I would trust him to know the difference between a good team and a bad one.
And a good coach and a bad one.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Ducks they're one of those teams where you look at and it's like, Jesus, can you take a step? And this year they have, I think. Mm-hmm. I don't know about that coach.
Okay.
I don't know.
Well, I thought it was worth bringing up because I thought that was I'm like, that is a quote. That is a quote.
That is a heck of a
freaking
quote.
quote.
God.
Damn.
Can people start, can the Swedish papers and the Finnish papers stop hogging it all and send your guys to the end of the year, like locker clean out press conferences?
Yeah.
So we can all hear it too.
Yeah.
Come on.
I know.
Come
on. Logan Thompson signs a 6-year extension. Kevin Weeks pulled over to the side of the damn highway to announce it.
Of course he did.
Did you see it?
What, the video?
Did you see the video?
Yeah.
He's a lunatic, man. You don't need to die for this. It's just Logan Thompson's extension.
Scarborough. A little different. Scarborough, man.
Now, the contract details are as follows, and this falls on just such a great season for the Capitals. 6-year extension, 5.85 AAV. This is a player.
Shut up.
This is a player who, when the Vegas Golden Knights said, Aiden Hill's our guy, he said, cool, trade me. And then they said, cool, we'll trade you when you're supposed to be signing autographs for fans at the draft. And he did it. And he's come to Washington. He's placed in a great system with Carberry. Mm-hmm. And he beat out a goalie that got the Capitals to the playoffs last year in Charlie Lindgren, who was the surprise of the season.
Very, very good goalie.
And he's come in and gone, no, I'm going to be the starter here. And also made, and although you could have seen this coming,
sure,
also made all the general managers, I can't believe this, you'll be shocked, I forgot about this, it's the Bruins GM who's is Team Canada's GM. It's Sweeney.
Awesome.
So that's awesome, as he's good at the goaltender thing. Logan Thompson should have been picked even at the time. It's even more obvious that they should have picked him now. I'm sure somewhere down the line they're like, man, maybe it'd be so weird if somebody got a groin tweak and couldn't show up.
Oh no!
But they didn't even call him. They didn't even make a phone call to him at all. None of them. I think this is a Logan. You laughed at me a few weeks ago when I said if Logan Thompson, if the Capitals and Vegas play in the finals, that'll be like Logan Thompson redemption. Oh. And you're like, Logan Thompson. I'm telling you, man,
this is wrong.
Guy to watch.
Totally wrong. I thought he was riding an early season heater. Like, I know he's a good goalie.
Yeah.
The year Vegas won the cup, because he was hurt, I'm like, their chances are kind of screwed. And then Aiden Hill stepped up because Aiden Hill
Aiden Hill.
He was behind Logan Thompson, though. In terms of, if you just look at their numbers, one should be getting the respect ahead of the other. Mm-hmm. And then he went in there and he was good enough and they won the freaking cup. Man, I watched the highlights from that game the other day because I'm sick. And that friggin' save he made in the Stanley Cup clinching game was so unbelievable. Mm-hmm. But now look at Logan Thompson. And here's how quickly things change. Adam, what team did Logan Thompson play for in the 2018-19 season?
That's a really good question, Steve. I don't actually remember. I don't remember anything pre-pandemic.
Brock University.
No way. Brock University.
Brock.
Which is no disrespect to Brock University, but it's not like churning out NHL players regularly.
Well, hey, no, their leading scorer was Ryan Burton, Adam. Well, he was tied with Aiden McDonald. He played Canadian University that turns out, in terms of NHL players,
Zero.
almost zero. Like, it's so rare. And this isn't one of those wonky things where, like, he had to play there because, like, COVID and this is the only place he could get. No, this was before that even.
Brock University.
Brock University. Now, before that, he did play with the Brandon Wheat Kings. Obviously didn't get drafted. Brock University. It's so rare. A lot of major junior players end up playing Canadian university hockey, but it's so rare that they're able to take their career then to a point where they're in the NHL.
Did he go-
Some of them go Europe, some of them go A.
Did he go ECHL, AHL, NHL? Like, what did he do?
Let me look.
I can look.
Very brief tenure in the ECHL. In 2018-19, same year he went to Brock, he played 8 games in the ECHL with the Adirondack Thunder. And actually, he played 1 game with the Binghamton Devils. The next year, South Carolina Stingrays, 32 games in the ECHL. The next year, he ended up playing for Vegas because I think every goalie got hurt. But he was so good, I guess, in 2 seasons in the AHL.
Oh, he was.
Holy
Those are great
shit,
numbers.
he was great. Yeah, 943 and a 920. They're like, let's give him a shot. And he hasn't had a save percentage that started with an 8 ever professionally. Unless you count the 1 game he played for the AHL in 2018-19.
So then my question becomes, gentlemen, the Capitals looked to be a team like they were just gonna ride off into the sunset, try to get Ovi a bunch of goals, but they were gonna have to do a full retool, and they did. I look at the Pittsburgh Penguins.
I told you this 2 years ago, man.
Jesse, Steve, do you think the Pittsburgh Penguins can do what the Capitals did? Take some risks this offseason, make some bold trades, and start to look like a team again based around Crosby? And Malkin, by the way, is out again.
No. So,
You don't think so?
Do you have an answer, Jesse? Is it also-
No, I think we've been around this.
Are we past that? Do you
I
think?
Kyle Dubas tried it the last 2 off seasons, right? And it hasn't been successful.
Right.
Who is Miroshnichenko for the Penguins? Who is Alexei Protas for the Penguins?
They don't have a great system.
Who is Connor McMichael for the Penguins? The Capitals have done a good job. Like, they took a risk with Dubois. They took a risk with, Chychrun is not exactly a risk, but he's turned out better.
Yep.
They took a risk with Logan Thompson. They kind of took a risk with Charlie Lindgren. Andrew Mangiapane was a risk. They've drafted really well. You know what's crazy? And I discovered this from Oh Wow on the SDPN YouTube channel.
Right now.
Yeah, where we go through OHL highlights. There's a guy who we featured twice now. Ilya Protas, who is 6'5", 200 pounds.
Every day?
Every day, playing junior hockey.
Oh, jeez.
And his brother is Alexei Protas, 6'6", 225 pounds. Every day, playing for the Washington Capitals. Alexei Protas was drafted 3rd round 2019 by the Caps. Guess when the hell Ilya went?
When?
3rd round 2024, Caps.
No.
How'd they get both? He's got over 70 points in under 50 games.
Oh, my God.
In the O this year. And he hasn't played an NHL game yet. So when the conversation comes up between those two, I'm sorry, it's not close. It's that the Penguins have a boatload of work to do before they're even close to the Caps last year.
Can I give some credit to the Capitals for, like Steve, you mentioned it there, just for making the Logan Thompson trade and the 2/3 that they sent out for him? Because it wasn't a slam dunk that Logan Thompson was going to be good.
He could have been.
And things were really good in Vegas because Aiden Hill and Logan Thompson grew up in Calgary around the same time or together. I think they're a year apart in age, and they played hockey together as kids. and they were friends, they were buddies. There was a piece about them, how they play a lot of video games together and they play Chell together. And in this story, they talk about how Aiden Hill was beating Logan Thompson 5-0 in a game of Chell, and Thompson rage quit. And he ended the game, and they have fun
And
stories
the coach
like
for
that.
the team told everyone to get off the bench. Look me in the eye.
And then Logan Thompson went to Sweden and was like, that guy's a pig. And so then that all happened. And so they had a really good thing going. And Logan Thompson doesn't play in the playoffs where they win the Stanley Cup. I think he's injured for most of it. And they had Aiden Hill. You don't need to play your backup. So he's injured. He doesn't play all that stuff. But he, at the end of last season, said, I want to be a starter somewhere. Please trade me. And he goes to GM, and they're like, okay, we can do that. You're making league min, like the lowest of league min, 776 or whatever he's making right now, which is ridiculous.
Joseph Wall money. Yeah.
And for a guy who's an undrafted free agent, never been a full-time starter, to trade
Played it, Brock.
To trade 2 third-round picks for this guy just to take a chance on your goaltending is awesome stuff by the Washington Capitals. And I don't fault the Vegas Golden Knights for making that move. You have a Stanley Cup winning goaltender in Aiden Hill. You got to give him a contract for next season. They have no goaltender signed for next season. But the bet was the correct one. And the Capitals, being a really smart team who's made all of the perfect moves these last 2 off seasons, smartly got this goaltender who's turned into a complete wagon.
And complete under the radar, too, because the big move everybody was talking about was, well, Kemper for Pierre-Luc Dubois, those are 2 problematic contracts. Can they turn his career around?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's
been great.
And they've made a lot of, like, you look at the things that Pittsburgh hasn't done, because that was where we came from.
Yeah.
The things that the Caps have done. These little things are the difference makers, right? Like this little, okay, we'll send out those futures in a team that is supposed to be looking for futures because you're on the tail end of when you guys won the cup and all that stuff. But no, we're trying to be competitive right now. Who cares about these 3rd-round picks? Let's try and get this goalie with a lot of upside. And they did it, and they hit. And all credit to them for doing this retool. It's been spectacular.
It's a great one. And retools sometimes get you to the mid-pack of the playoff standings. Rarely does it get you to the top.
Exactly.
And so here's my next question for you guys, and this is a legacy question, okay? I'm going to throw a real wrench in it. The Capitals, by points percentage, they're tied in real points with the Jets, but they are the first-place team in the NHL right now. Mm-hmm. They have 73 points in 50 games. The Jets have 73 and 52, okay?
So who's ahead by points percentage?
Points percentage, Washington, because they played less games.
No way.
Number 1 team in the NHL. This is why I'm saying, like, oh, you've seen a team go from 17th to 5th, but you haven't seen a team go from like 20th to 1st.
I like
over
their
the course of 18
offseason.
months.
I didn't think they'd be doing this.
Well, and I think it's Carberry's system, and even and you say this, their power play still needs work. Like, it's crazy.
Sure.
Their goal differential is plus 55. But let me ask you this: let's just say. The Capitals get to the finals, okay? And they play whoever, and they win this year. Is that... Cup. Yes.
Oh.
They win the Cup this year. Because they're a first-place team. You got to look at that, right? You got to start talking about that.
Yeah, you're right.
So much of Crosby and Ovechkin's legacies have been linked to each other. Mm-hmm. And right now, Crosby's got the edge in Cups 3-1. Is Alexander Ovechkin and the Washington Capitals winning this year a more impressive Cup than any of the Cups Crosby won with the Pittsburgh Penguins, considering his age?
Ooh. Crosby winning in his 4th season is pretty nuts.
Crazy. But he's
and then
at the
back to back.
But he's at the prime of his life at that point. That's when you expect a player to be at their best between years 4 and 10, if they're like a generational player.
Put it this way. Even if Ovi gets the all-time goals record, I still have Crosby firmly ahead of him. Mm-hmm. In terms of legacy. A second Ovechkin Cup complicates things a bit. It makes it a more interesting conversation for sure.
And I didn't even ask about that. I asked, is it a more impressive Cup than any of the ones the Penguins won?
That is what you asked. Ooh.
And Jesse, I got to hear what you think.
No, what was the year they didn't have any defensemen? What was the year they had like Ron Hainsey on their top pair?
Yeah, I think that was...
was that 16 or 17? That was insane.
That was insane. And they switched coaches mid-season, and the team came alive.
That was the first Kessel year?
Yeah.
That one was pretty impressive. You know why that's pretty impressive, and a lot of people forget this? ESPN did a poll of all their experts. It was like over a dozen. Every single one of them had the Sharks.
Yeah.
Every one of them they swept. Penguins beat them in 6.
Okay, but that's cool that they won it with Ron Hainsey. He did a great job. Then the Leafs committed to Ron Hainsey for too long, and oh my God.
I know.
After that run.
Thanks for nothing.
But Ovechkin broke his leg this year. He broke his leg. He's 38. If they go and they win a cup, I'm sorry. I think you're going to have a hard time convincing me that that's not the most impressive of the Crosby-Ovechkin cups together. It's an evil question.
It's an evil question. What a gift. Crosby versus Ovechkin was born 20 years ago.
Yeah.
You're talking too much about these two kids. Overhyped. 2 decades.
And not overhyped at all. Not even in the slightest.
Not in the least. Not even kind of. Oh, God. What a gift to the sport.
Jesse, what do you think? Steve won't answer it, so.
I don't know.
Okay, yes.
You say yes?
Yes.
Well, you say yes to what?
This cup being more impressive because you dominated from October through June.
And broke a leg.
And broke a leg in the middle of it. And also the all-time goals.
It was a fractured fibula, and it's a little easier to rehab than just like he snapped his leg, you know. Not to discredit the rehab, but
he's on skates like 4 weeks later.
yeah, because you can do that on a fractured fibula. I don't know. Ranking the cups is difficult because you have to go look at the context of everything, right? Mm-hmm. Like winning back to back. So I guess the second one would be the more impressive one. I think there's a lot that goes into just being the champs and then doing it again.
Yes.
Like you look at how many teams don't have the repeat years because of how long into the playoffs you have to go. You play more hockey than anybody else, and then that quick turnaround, and then you do it again, and you end up winning again. I think
so. The Penguins double dipping there.
Yeah, winning a back-to-back cups will always be very impressive to me. Winning back-to-back championships in any sport, I think, is one of the greatest feats you can do, just because of that.
So you give the edge to the Penguins.
I think
it's
right
really
now,
hard.
right now, just because back-to-back is so impressive.
I'm so jacked for the playoffs. I was
about
thinking
to
about
say-
this yesterday. I'm so excited.
I almost said they're the last team to do it. Nope.
No.
Tampa.
We had a team that went to 3 straight and won 2 of 3.
Yep.
Okay, I just want to play a couple of like small quick clips here. If you're a Leaf fan and you're tired,
All right, you nailed it. So
no, you're tired of seeing players pass in obvious scoring positions. Jesse, I want to highlight this Vinny Trochek clip. Did you see this?
yes, I did.
This is pain. This is pain. This is pain. And
Rangers, I keep trying to talk about how you've changed. Let me love you. Why did you do this?
I love Vinny Trochek. I want him to be a Leaf so bad because he would fit in so well. Now, for context here,
yeah.
they were playing Carolina last night. It's the second period, 30 seconds to go. Steal, and there's Vinny Trochek. He's got the puck right at center ice.
Short-handed.
And he's off. He's off. The penalty's ending, by the way. So the Rangers are going to have fresh legs and all that. So let's skip forward a little bit here, Jess.
Okay, you gotta do some describing for people listening.
Vinny is able to corral the puck, cross the blue line. I think it's Martinook that's on him. I don't know.
He's ahead by a solid stride.
Just go back. Okay, now Vinny Trochek, who has a clear shot at the goalie, then goes, you know what? Instead of deking or shooting or creating a rebound or anything, why don't I, through the legs behind me, pass to somebody that actually isn't there? Because he didn't really know that the player that was following it up, and I forget who the Ranger is that's following it up, is not directly behind him. It's a Carolina defenseman. So they come away from that breakaway with no shots.
Why is my teammate following me so closely? God, give me some room, man. Here, take the puck.
Don't do this, man. Don't do this. What could possibly be, other than I'm squeezing my stick too hard, what could possibly be the rationale?
My reaction to this is designed to make Adam as mad as possible. You know why he passed?
Why did he pass?
Because Freddie Anderson just had him locked up.
No, he didn't.
Freddie Anderson, the year of our Lord, 2025. 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Freddie Anderson, who got a shutout in this game, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, they lost 4-0. It was brutal.
What are the Rangers supposed to do? What are they supposed to shoot at? Freddie, the Great Dane, has got them locked up. He couldn't do anything about it. He said, you know what? The next guy will have a better chance of beating him because I can't beat
I simply can't.
this truly incredible goaltender. Who is incredible and always has been.
He is. He actually is.
He looks like I don't know how to.
He's got the angle on him. Like Freddie, look at Freddie. He's in the right spot.
Oh, he's such a cookie cutter European goaltender, like from that era. But forget height. Like Freddie looks huge
All right, Marcus Stroman.
in the net.
Yeah. Height does measure heart.
Height doesn't measure Danish goaltending. He is a lot of goalies are like bone racks these days, and they're very lanky. Freddie is he is that is steak for breakfast. He's
a thick daddy.
He's a
Yeah.
okay. Well,
What?
I don't know if that was necessary.
Isn't that the scouting term? Thick daddy?
No,
No? With
No.
two C's?
I don't like that. That's felt like a sentence that ended with a comma.
Okay. Yeah, he's
Is that how the scouts write it? Thick daddy? No, don't call me that. What on earth? Anyway, he takes up a lot of the net, man. A lot of the net.
do you have something else to add?
I think you left out the most important part of this clip.
What is it?
Andrei Svechnikov scores the other way.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes it way funnier.
Yeah.
So this all happens.
by not shooting, you've let Svechnikov score.
Sorry, there's two ways to make it funny. Number one is upset Adam by praising Freddie Anderson.
I don't.
Adam hates him a lot,
playoff Freddie
like
Anderson.
Kyle Dubas.
Yeah, so after this play where Trochek passes it on the breakaway, the Carolina Hurricanes take the play up the other end, and Svechnikov scores on a pass from Rantanen and Jason Blake's kid.
Did you see the setup from?
He is Jason.
Did you see the Rantanen setup to Jack Drury too last night?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
had to be those two.
Damn Canes. They're gonna be real good.
Nietzsche's is doing well too, although I don't think the Avs have won with him in the lineup yet.
So Leafs are playing the Minnesota Wild tonight. Couple of notes before we go to the press conference here. First thing, Marc-Andre Fleury will start tomorrow in Montreal. It'll be his last ever start in Montreal, so you know that's going to be a can't miss game.
Drafted in 2003.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts. And Kirill Kaprizov going to have surgery on his hip, and it looks like it's not that invasive. It's not like a resurfacing or something like that. But whatever the procedure is, it's hindering the Wild from being able to make a trade because now he's on LTIR for a month, and they're not going to accrue cap space while he's there. And so, you know, if he was going to be out till the rest of the year, then they could go make a crazy trade, and then he'll be back for game one of the playoffs. But him being out for a month while you want Kaprizov in your lineup is sort of a pain in the ass with the cap because this is the last year of the Suter and Parise contract sitting on there like a boat anchor, and they've had a great year.
They're like a bizarrely good player for this summer.
They're going to be a monster
free
player this
agency?
summer. Like, if Rantanen makes it this summer to free agency. If Marner makes it this summer to free
Wild?
agency, Chicago, Minnesota.
They both go.
Oh, damn.
Marner Rantanen teaming up in Minnesota.
God.
No way, but like that'd be
Yeah.
insane.
Yeah.
You like Parise Suter.
Yeah, would
Yeah.
be. Give him 98 mil each.
All over again.
You know
Let's
what?
go!
And you know what? You know what they'll do because of the Minnesota Wild? They'll defer most of it.
Oh.
Against the cap.
And the NHL will decide it's okay again.
Lastly, it looks like Fenway Sports might be looking at, and this is a report from Emily Kaplan of ESPN, might be looking to share a minority stake in the Pittsburgh Penguins. Fenway Sports and Entertainment owns not just the Red Sox, but also Liverpool and also the Penguins. And there have been rumors of some cost cutting going on behind the scenes. Last year, I think it was 12 or 13 longtime Penguin staff members were just let go as the company sort of said, well, these roles are redundant and we'll do it out of a centralized location. According to a friend of mine who's a Liverpool fan, that they're not spending enough on Liverpool and it's driving fans crazy.
My father-in-law is like, hopefully they sell the Penguins so they could afford to keep Salah.
That's apparently the big issue. And of course, if you're paying attention to baseball, the Red Sox, it started with the selling of Mookie Betts, and it really was a sale. But the Red Sox have been sort of in this weird in-between for a few years where they haven't spent to the levels that the Red Sox are known to spend to. So I don't think it hints at some sort of major issue with company finances, but I'm sure it means that they're in the red. And even though they've capitalized on owning these franchises, and if they ever sold them, they'd be so cash rich that they wouldn't have to worry about money forever. They're probably just like, well, it makes us look bad if we're cash poor, so let's get some money injected in and that sort of thing and minimize risk. But it is interesting.
I don't understand money. One day I might. Like, I don't know.
Man, it's a funny concept, money. Funny little thing we've made up. So let's do the press conference.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
I think this young man, 31 years old, Detroit Red Wings great, Dominik Shine, deserves a shout out.
Awesome.
Dominik Shine spent here, Maddie, bring up his hockey DB page. He spent 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 seasons with the Grand Rapids Griffins of the AHL and never got a sniff of the NHL until this week when he made his NHL debut for the Detroit Red Wings because they have a lot of injuries and illness. And Dominik Shine at 31 made his NHL debut, which is really darn cool.
So, like, his hockey DB page is so aesthetically pleasing.
He's got to stay with Detroit now.
He's stayed with Lincoln in the USHL for 4 years, Northern Michigan University for 4 years, Grand Rapids for 9. This is the first time in his life he's played for 2 different teams in the same season.
Oh, that's true.
No,
No, that's not true. He did Northern Michigan and Grand Rapids.
Oh, son of a gun. Yeah. You're right. I'm wrong.
Yeah.
I'm going to sing the I Was Wrong song. Led the Red Wings in takeaways in that game. I took a look at his thing, and I want to be like, what stood out? What stood out about you, Dom? Hey, he led them in takeaways. Kiss my bottom.
Oh,
no one else was better than him at takeaways with 2.
You can't take that away.
So
Can't take it away. Hey, ho!
At 31, he's also having his best AHL career, and that's why he earned his call-up. 32 points in 40 games, and he's almost past his career high, which he set last year of 33 points in 65 games, 11 goals.
He's already got more goals than he had last year.
Yeah, his career high in the AHL, 17 goals in 71 games. But hopefully, maybe Dominik Shine gets a couple more NHL games. That paycheck must have been real good.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
Well, and he hasn't been sent down yet, right?
I don't believe so.
Oh, here comes the money.
Yeah.
Every day he's up. Here comes what B got in his bonnet in the 22 season when he had 141 penalty minutes.
Maybe they were trying him out in a different role. Like,
Who pissed you off? Holy shit.
Make you an enforcer.
Yeah.
No, could have been.
That was the year he scored 17 as well. Man, I love a guy getting to the NHL the hard way, and it worked. I also love a guy who is determined to work from home. I've never seen anyone more determined to work from home. He's from Detroit. I don't know where Lincoln is. I'm not going to lie. I assume Michigan. Grand Rapids, and now he's on the Red Wings. He's going to get NHL offers this summer and be like, no, thank you. I think I will stay with the Red Wings organization.
If you just say Lincoln, Detroit, or Lincoln, Michigan, that kind of sounds right.
It sounds right.
But
we shouldn't look into it.
I have no idea.
I don't want to know.
Lincoln,
I'm going to be so sad if it's not Michigan.
the city. Okay, I typed in Lincoln, the city.
Nebraska.
There's a Lincoln, England. So it's not that one.
Just type in the team name.
No, I think this is much more.
No,
much
you're
more
right.
fun.
He played on Nebraska's USHL team. Do they have one?
The Lincoln Stars,
Lincoln Stars.
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Damn! What were you doing there, Dom?
Lincoln, Nebraska.
Well, anyway, as a pro, he's decided, no, it's a little bit of WFH, a little work from home for old Dom. And I appreciate that.
We didn't touch on this when the Rantanen trade broke, but because it wasn't serious, it was just internet scuttlebutt. But the internet scuttlebutt got back to the person who was the end of the butt, And that person in this instance is Sidney Crosby, who was rumored to be on his way to the Colorado Avalanche after the Avalanche made a bunch of cap room and they got Marty Nietzsche. And
was he rumored?
CJ shut it down.
That's why I said what I said.
Okay.
Is that it was just internet scuttlebutt. There was no real rumors about it, but because there was just a bunch of people speculating and making things up, Sidney Crosby got asked about it.
Oh,
and Taylor Haase.
She's great.
Of DK Pittsburgh Sports had the quote from Crosby, and he said, "I know how speculation works. Everybody's looking to talk about different things, different scenarios," Crosby told me. "I can't control that. I don't know where that comes from. I don't think that it's something I'm going to discuss every time someone speculates something. I'm not going to answer it every time that happens." Crosby called all the noise a difficult part of losing. It's more than just the losses. It's all the stuff that comes with it. It's the trickle-down effect that comes with that. That's the way it is. But understanding that, I know that all of my energy and all my focus is toward helping us and doing the best we can, and I can't control any of that other stuff.
Damn.
Crosby's not going anywhere.
He's going to look so good in Colorado. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Everybody's going to forget about Rantanen when Crosby shows up.
I was surprised that we got a quote out of him about it.
Can you imagine?
You know?
Can you imagine this, guys? So Crosby goes to the Avs. Avs go to the finals. Who is waiting for them? Ovechkin.
Oh, shit. That'd be awesome. Too bad.
Tell me, you don't want that to happen? Oh, okay.
Too bad it's just
Listen,
not going to happen.
He can't control the speculation, and I, therefore, vow to continue to speculate.
Here's my speculation. He ain't going.
Yeah, people were posting pictures of Pittsburgh. I think it was Kevin Weeks and Paul Bissonnette had pictures of Pittsburgh. People were like, I don't even know what city this is. I'm like, I know exactly what city.
I had no idea what city it was when he posted it.
Three Rivers, baby. Let's go. It was Colorado.
The Quebec?
No, somebody said
Riviere?
No, it was not. No. Jesse, what else do you have?
Last thing, Drew Doughty makes his season debut tonight against Florida Panthers. He's back.
Good for him.
Soon to be joined by Yanni Hakanpää, and then they can both play in the World Cup of hockey or whatever the hell it's called together.
Four Nations face-off. Yeah. You're doing streams for that. You know.
I know. I just felt stupid.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.